All right, we are live. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Sue, Jetson, Emmanuel, Express, Coleman. What's for breakfast? No breakfast, just water. Just water and coffee. No breakfast. No breakfast for me on weekdays. Welcome in, guys. No, no swoop. No swoop today. Yeah, no swoop today. No swoop today. SPX, yeah, we'll go right. We'll do it. Someone asked me for SPX. I mean, we can flash you a little bit of SPX action today. We could talk a little bit about the SPX chart. Oh, I already know we are gonna have problems today because I'm seeing my screen is stuck on MRK. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna switch screens for a second just to get this fixed. So bear with me for 1 second. Bam. Bam. That didn't do it. Bam. Bam. Okay, you know what? I can do this. I have an idea. This is how I fixed it last time. Display capture. I'm gonna fix it while you guys are getting ready. I'm gonna fix it. Just bear with me. I'm gonna do a window capture, then display capture. Now we're in business. Okay, cool. All right. We're live, guys. We are live and we are in business. We are in business. I don't want to mess with this too much though, because if I mess with it too much, I'm gonna break it. So I should just leave it. I'll leave it the way it is. I will leave it the way it is. There it is. All right, we're good. We should be fine. Welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody has had a nice Monday and has had a nice morning to start the Tuesday morning. And we're gonna dive into our charts today. We have a lot to go over this morning. We have a lot of fireworks happening in the pre-market. AMD being one of those fireworks. An absolute tanker. Doing something so incredibly important right now, and we're going to talk about it. You guys probably know it's in the title of this live stream. We are going to talk about it. Daily 200 SMA, massive technical reclaim across on AMD, and this is obviously instilling some upside on NVDA. This is a trade from yesterday's session. NVIDIA looked really nice yesterday. We caught a little bit of the upside move. In today's session, we'll talk about AMD and NVIDIA. We'll talk about of course, talk about Avgo, right? Go over all the chip names as well. Avgo a little weak from the overall market. We'll go over everything today, guys. A lot to go over this morning. We'll dive into it. Tesla, of course. Tesla being one we're watching as well today. Building as well. Kind of similar to NVIDIA, but a bit early stage. We'll talk about Tesla. We'll go over Amazon. We'll go over Apple's chart. Apple just stuck in a range recently. Apple has been very untradeable the past few days. Does it become tradable today? We will talk about that. In today's session. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into it. Let's talk about our charts. I am requesting PTO. I'm gonna put this in the chat now. I am requesting PTO on Friday. So just letting that marinate a little bit, but I'm requesting PTO on Friday. Hopefully everyone's okay with that. I'm gonna probably take off on Friday. I'm like 50-50 about it, but I'm just letting you guys know I'm traveling on Thursday, and I don't know if I'll be trading on Friday, but it's 50-50. I'm just putting it out there, kind of marinating a little bit. We'll see what happens. All right, so Tuesday, June 17. Today, people are saying denied, not approved. I knew you guys were gonna say that. I knew there was no chance. I knew there was no chance that was gonna fly. Anyway, so today, Tuesday, June 17. Today's session, we have a lot of data. We have retail sales 8:30 a.m., industrial production 9:15, business inventories 10 o'clock, housing market index 10 o'clock. Some big data peppered in today's session, and then Wednesday, tomorrow, we know this already. Tomorrow is FOMC. Okay, so going into our session today, we know we have lots of data to watch out for all day today. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. it's big, right? And then also you have 1 o'clock tips at auction, right? So you data all day today. Now tomorrow's session is going to be even more data. You have more housing starts and permits data tomorrow morning, 8:30. You have jobless claims 8:30. You have also have the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee announcement at 2 p.m. tomorrow, which of course you guys know is the biggest data release probably for the entire month of June. Someone said you didn't put. Zen says you didn't put in the 2 weeks notice. Zen girl Erica, you're absolutely right. I gotta put in like 6 weeks notice actually. Six weeks notice. Right. So and also of course you guys know it's Thursday market closure. Okay. So that being said, earnings reports. There's nothing on the earnings docket. Let's talk about SPY. Let's go over a SPY chart. On the SPY chart, could you start showing plays you called in Honey Drip the previous day? Yeah, I could do that. But I don't want to make our pre-markets. I don't want to make our pre-markets the trades we had taken previously, because I know like I'll talk a little bit about it, but it's important we talk about what can we trade today, right? I think that's like even though I will talk about a little bit the ideas we were trading on Monday, I don't want to make it all about that. Otherwise, it's not so actionable. See what I'm saying, right? So today's session here in SPY. Let's dive into SPY chart. Let's talk about this. Let's focus in, guys. Let's just fully focus on this. Okay. On the SPY chart, major level yesterday was 602. That was the big focal point of our session, was 602. You saw some opening bell breaks above 602. This was the previous high day break. Not previous high day break. It was a big level. 602 was previous high day break. Big level on Thursday, low of day on Wednesday before the breakdown. The level on Tuesday, and it was just a big level. 602 is a massive level, okay? We broke 602, this level we spoke about yesterday's session, and as soon as we broke 602, this is where I could really become convicted into long side trades. There was a moment yesterday where I was sitting watching charts, I was looking for entries, and I sat there feeling like a fool because the market broke. The market was sitting right over here, and I'll show you where it was. It was sitting right over here on SPY. And I saw NVDA breaking out. I saw AMD breaking out. And I didn't go long in AMD. I didn't go long in NVIDIA. I sat there for a while. And part of the reason why I waited was, you sit there in the moment and you're like, damn, NVIDIA's ripping. I should just went long NVIDIA, right? But the level didn't break on SPY. And if you wanted real upside yesterday, the upside had to be if SPY broke 602. And I think waiting for 602 to break was the proper idea. And that's what we did. Waited for 602 to break. And once 602 broke, you guys saw the 602 breakout, right? Big break, pull back, long retest 602, upside trade back at 603.50, right? So the momentum trade yesterday was 602 breaking. That's what instilled upside. Yesterday could have been a downside day if we rejected here off 602. That could have been a very easy downside day, rejecting off that level, 602 downside, right? And that wasn't what happened yesterday. But the important part was that if you stayed patient and waited for market to break 602, it still gave you long entries. Now, today's session, 602, well, first of all, 602 was the level yesterday. 603.50 was the level yesterday. Big level 1, big level 2, the same levels we spoke about yesterday. If you guys notice, hey, where did we move to yesterday? We broke 602, and we said if 602 breaks, we go right to 603.50, but that's your next big resistance. We formed resistance here at 603.50. We then turned 603.50 into a break and retest long entry and got more upside into our session on Monday. So we had a really nice Monday session. It was just a very technical day that gave you entries. You didn't have to chase yesterday, right? If you waited for us to break out yesterday, you could have got the pullback long at 602. Waited us to break out 603.50, you could have got the long pullback at 603.50. And if you waited until 3 p.m. in the afternoon yesterday, you said, you know what? I don't want to trade because I want real pullback longs. At this moment, what were you doing? You probably were waiting for a 602 bounce, and then that's what the market gave you. The market gave you a beautiful 602 pullback long, end of day, upside trade back into close. Today's session is almost as if what happened yesterday, let's just assume yesterday's action didn't happen, right? We're going to draw a big box around it, and we're going to stop it all from happening, right? Nothing happened yesterday. Let's just pretend nothing happened. And you look back at yesterday's pre-market compared to where we are pre-market today, and it's the same thing. It's fundamentally the same thing. Nothing has really changed. We are opening into the same levels, And in order for us to see upside today, we have to clear 602. If we can clear 602, you have upside back at a 60350. If you fail 602, we're going back into these lows and these lows over here, right? We're going back into the lows here, 59750, and we're going back into the lows here, 595. Those are the big demands below. Big demand 1, big demand 2. But if we can't get above 602, which we did yesterday, right? But today's session, we were obviously gapping down a little bit, right? A little weakness on some other names. And we are unfortunately not looking that strong right now, right? So what must we do for upside is we must break and hold above 602. If that happens, more upside comes in. We can look for a pushback at 60350 and back into 606, okay? That is the SPY chart. On the ES chart, the levels are very simple. Same idea as SPY, guys. It's 60-80, right? If we can break 60-80 today, we have free-flowing upside move back into 6100 ES, right? So look today's session for a break and hold above 60-80 ES. If that level can break on the ES chart, we have upside momentum back into 6100 here ES. Okay, so the levels are very simple. 60-80 breaks, 6100. 6100 breaks, 6127 next big level. If we fail 60-80, which right now, technically we are under supply. I don't really want to long this market until we're above this level. Very simply, right? This is the level, this is the level, this is the level. I don't really want to be long on the ES chart when it's doing this. Very important, because in the ES chart, it's a little bit iffy right now. This has to reclaim this level. If it can, that's where upside comes in. Until then, this may sell. This may sell into 60-50. It may sell into 60-20. So be careful of rejections at 60-80. We must clear that for upside momentum to come in. On the QQQ chart, on the Qs chart, it all came down to 532 yesterday, right? And this, in my opinion, was a very technical day yesterday. We cleared 532. We saw upside momentum right back into 535. Now, today's session, it is about 532 and 535. If we're above 532, bullish back into 535. The SPY equivalent to 532 will be the same thing as SPY 532 QQQ will be the same thing as me saying SPY will be the same thing as me saying SPY 602. Okay, so 532 Qs and SPY 602. Those are the big levels to watch out for today. Now, remember I said something. I said that if you want upside to come in yesterday, you need to see SPY clear the level here, 602, and QQQ clear the level here at 532, right? So remember we said that yesterday? That is why I would never have longed yesterday until maybe around 948, 950. That's where the real long came in yesterday. Because remember we said this. We said you want to look for Qs and SPY to move in tandem, right? When you have spot tech and the S&P moving in tandem, moving grouped together, breaking key technical levels, joined together, that's where real upside comes in. Real free-flowing trend days come in. Right now, you are seeing something. You are seeing QQQ above 532. But even though we see this right now in the pre-market session, we cannot long Qs or long tech until we see SPY above that level. Very important idea. Now, I shouldn't say that entirely, because if we do sell off today and just sell back into the 526 or 522.50, there is demand there. You could technically go long at demand here. You can go long at demand back at our demand levels. You can totally do that. But you don't really want to be long right now, right? You don't want to be long here on tech until you see SPY also clear that level. And if you see both clearing the level, 532 and SPY 602, then you have a long entry both on tech and SPY, and you can look for upside move back in the highs here. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here, right? This is very important stuff. This is not, this is very important stuff. You must understand both tech and SPY today have very key levels, and we must understand that. 532 Qs, 602 on the SPY chart, okay? Let's move on, guys. Let's talk about NQ, a little bit of NQ action, here. 22,200 was the NQ supply yesterday. We moved from demand to supply. Now today's session, we're opening right back at demand again. Let's see what happens here, right? The level this morning here on the tech side, on the NQ side, is 22,070. If we're above 20,070, we're bullish. But you guys know this, to me, is not saying go long on it yet. Why? Because you want to see SPY also reclaim, right? It's got to be both. It can't just be one of them, right? Look for this to clear. If it clears, I think this happens today. That's where you expect upside to happen today for above this level. But if you can't get above this level, if you can't get above this level, then downside back in 21,841, right? That, in my opinion, is what I think is happening today. It's either upside. It's very simple, right? It's just literally upside above support or downside below support, right? That's what's going to happen. Now, we don't know what's going to happen here yet. Let's see what happens. Right now, you have Qs above support, but you have SPY below resistance. And I think that's a really important discrepancy here on SPY versus Qs. And one of the big reasons why, and we're going to talk about this, why is tech so strong, SPY so weak? AMD, and NVDA, right? These are the strong tech names. The semiconductors are very strong, and we're going to talk about it. Anyway, guys, SPX. Somebody wanted SPX today. Does anybody want me to add SPX in the mix, or was this getting too much? Let me know what you guys think. Is SPX too much to add? Type too much, or what do you guys think? Is it too much? Personally, I'll be honest with you. I think it's too much. But you guys are saying add it. That's crazy. We'll do it. Look, if you guys want me to do it, I'll do it. I'll do it. But personally, I do think let's try it for a little bit. And if you guys think it's too much, we can remove it. I think just getting it out there, I do think it's too much because we already are going over SPY and ES. Anyway, here's 60.60 here, SPX. The low here, 59.67. Right now, obviously, SPX doesn't have after hours data. So the level I'd watch out for on SPX would be this level here. This is my demand zone today. My big demand would be here at 60.11, right? 60.11, that's my big demand here on the SPX chart, right? I'd look to see, can this level hold today? If this can hold even upside trade. You really want it to reclaim though, 60.35. If it can reclaim 60.35, you should have a little bit of a bull flag. This is like a crazy chart too. A little bit of a bull flag trade here. This is a horrible drawing, guys. But 60.35 clears, upside trade back into highs here, 60.60. And again, I'm butchering this chart right now, but these are my levels here on the SPX chart. I'm doing this kind of live with you guys. There's a little bit of a wonky chart. Anyway, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about our main ticker today. Let's talk about the firework AMD. Okay. All right. A little bit of hydration break before I dive into it. How many likes do we have? How many likes do we have? How many likes do we have here? We have 327 likes, 1,050 viewers. Guys, let's, if you can, get the like count up. I do this every morning for you guys for free, every single morning. It would be nice if we can, the only thing I ask for is 500 likes. If we can get that, that'd be awesome. All right, so AMD. AMD's chart yesterday was an absolute ripper, okay? It cleared 119.50, and I gotta tell you this, I don't know anybody who was expecting this, right? I seriously don't. And I mean, if you did expect this and you were trading AMD, you should be proud of yourself. That was an incredible move you got yesterday in AMD. You should be very happy. AMD has been an absolute powerful stock to trade for months and months and months. And if you caught it yesterday, that's awesome because you nailed a really good level yesterday. 119.50 reclaimed. This cleared. Beautiful break. Pull back long retest, upside momentum all day. And you just, on trades like this, you just EMA that bad boy, right? You just EMA that bad boy all the way to highs. That's seriously, you just EMA that bad boy, right? You get in long, you EMA all the way to highs, and you sit back, you kick your feet up, you watch the Netflix, maybe watch some YouTube, do what you gotta do, right? Every few minutes you look at the chart and see is it above the 5 EMA? If it is, you're holding. If it breaks it, you sell. And you caught a move from 9:40 in the morning, 9:35 in the morning, all the way until 10:55 in the afternoon. Insane session yesterday, AMD, an absolute firework. Now, what happened yesterday was not just a big breakout, was not just a high volume, massive breakout day, but it also was a reclaiming move, right? It was a reclaiming move. AMD reclaimed over a massive daily 200 SMA. This was the big technical level of resistance that we had to reclaim. And if you guys want a little bit of a case example here for a second, what we'll do is we'll show you the NVIDIA chart after NVIDIA reclaimed the 200 SMA, and we'll show you what happened. But here at AMD finally reclaimed. This is a big moment. This is a very big moment for AMD. AMD has been under this daily 200 since August of 24, and we are now back above. Obviously, there was a little bit of a liquidity grab here in October, but for the most part, it's been structured below this level, this 200 SMA since August, right? We've now reclaimed above it, and we're starting to see some upside. This could just be the beginning here in AMD, or it could be liquidity grab. But for me, I think it's just the beginning. Right now here on AMD, you could catch some multi-day movement here, right? Now, I'm not saying this is going to continue doing this today, right? I wouldn't expect that, right? I really wouldn't expect that. But I would expect this to be a nice pullback long at demand here, right? A nice pullback long at demand here, 125, 124 upside trade. Today, watching this, one of my main watches today is looking to see, can I trade AMD back at that daily 200 SMA? If we can pull back long here at the 200 SMA, I am looking for longs there, right? Longs back at demand, longs back at demand. That's the main watch I have for today's session. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see last time we were above this 200 SMA, last time we saw like a nice reclaiming move, you did see some consolidation first, then upside. That's why I am saying this. I'm saying this right here, right now, so we all understand expectations here. I would prefer this. I would prefer this, and this is important. You don't want this to go like this today. You don't want this to happen. I did it yesterday. Today's session, what you'd want to see is you'd want to see a little bit of a oh my God, this is the top in AMD. This is the top in AMD. Wow, I should have just sold my long equity. Bam, there. And once that happens, that's your long opportunity here in AMD. Once you get a little bit of a liquidity grab under lows here, maybe see a 125 break, it taps to 124, that's your upside comes in, right? And I think today's session, one of my main watches is going to be this, right? Everyone's watching AMD today. AMD is the UFO right now. AMD is the UFO in the sky, and everyone's saying, look at the UFO. You don't really want to be trading the UFO back at demand at the most obvious level. I think what you want to do is you want to let it break the obvious level first, then get in once it's reclaimed. I think that's just an idea here. Now, I shouldn't be saying too much right now. The idea right now on this AMD chart is we are bullish above the 200 SMA, and we should be looking for longs back at demand here. Let's look to see if we can set up a long opportunity here today. One of the main watches is 125. Where is it going to? Next big level of resistance comes in around 134. First of all, 132. My mistake. 132 big resistance. Above 132, you have resistance here at 144. So big levels here, big levels ahead of us, 132, 144. Okay, that is AMD. NVIDIA, we nailed the video yesterday. Finally got a nice good trade here to start the week off. I took longs on NVIDIA over here. Like I went long on NVIDIA right there, got upside, stopped out, got back in right over here, big upside into my end of day session. And this was a nice trade on NVIDIA, multiple executions on this chart, and ended up getting most of the move, squeezing out most of the move yesterday. So I was really happy I was able to do that, right? Especially when I thought I missed a trade, right? The opening bell, if you guys remember, what did we say yesterday? We said two things yesterday, and this is so important. This is why I do these pre-markets for you guys, is because I will tell you guys things that you could do, right? Even if I don't do it, you could still do it. I went long here in this consolidation. This is where I went long yesterday. Technically, the best long yesterday was actually not there. The best long was here. Why was it there? Obviously because it's a lower point, but it's also because this was the break. This was the break and retest of 143.5. Yesterday, we spoke about two things on NVIDIA. We said, look for the 145 break and retest. We said, look for the 143.5 break and retest. This was the earlier entry, the sneaky entry, and the surgical entry yesterday. If you guys caught this entry and had a better entry than me yesterday, that is awesome, right? That is awesome, and that means that you know what you're doing, right? You absolutely know what you're doing. This was the best long entry yesterday. The second best entry was here. Now, today's session, what can we do today on NVIDIA? Well, today's session, it's all about two things. It's about 145 and 143.5. If you consider this chart now an uptrend, which obviously still is an uptrend, it still is an uptrend right now. You can see highs, right? In order for this to be an uptrend, we must hold 143.5. So if this holds today, upside, right? And I'd be looking for 143 as a pullback long today, 143.5 as a pullback long. I would also be watching to see, can we break and hold above 145? If we can do this today, upside comes in, and where are we going to? 150, right? 150 is a macro level, so we're going to 146 is the next level. Of course, previous day high, but if you clear 145, I would expect at least 146 and possibly maybe 147 and change, right? 147 would be the next big level. So again, here on NVIDIA's chart, look for longs above 145, look for longs here at 143.5. If we do this today and fail 143.5, this is a dead chart. We don't trade it anymore, right? So very important mindset to have here. NVIDIA is only bullish as long as we are above 143.5. So look for longs as long as we're above 143.5. Look for longs above 145. and look for longs at demand 143.50. Okay, moving on, guys. Let's talk about Avgo. I'm going to spam the chart here for a second. Avgo consolidation 248 support 256. It's really 257, 258 resistance now, right? This is the big levels I have here on Avgo, right? Demand, supply. Okay, SMH chart on the SMH. The SMH reclaimed above 260. This was a very important idea yesterday. The SMH is moving strong mostly because of AMD and NVIDIA. Once we reclaim 260, break and retest 260, upside all day yesterday. Now today's session, we have resistance here at 265 and we have support here at 260. In order for semis to be bullish, we must remain above 260 today. This is your bull case scenario here. This is what you want to see for bulls. If we do this today, this is still a bullish move on semis. Okay, very important understanding. If we lose this level, this is your bear case scenario, and we fail back lower into 252 as the next big level of support. Okay, that's my expectations going into our session is 260 holding. If it holds, which it looks like it's going to hold now, look for longs and semis. Okay, that's our idea going into our Tuesday morning session, right? Let's move on, guys. Let's talk about Apple. A little bit of a discrepancy in Apple compared to tech, right? Apple has been weak. Something's been wrong with Apple. Something's been lagging and holding Apple behind. Now, regardless of what it is, I don't know what it is, right? But I do know levels. The levels on Apple are 200 and 196. We can either look for puts under 196. We can target and move back to 193. We can look for a move under Friday's lows. Friday the 13th lows here at 196. If we lose the 196 level, we can look for downside. And move back into 193. If Apple does get strong today, right? If Apple does get strong today, look for a move above 200 and upside back into 203. That is the big thing to watch out for today, guys. 200 breakout back into 203 or 196 breakdown back into 193. Those are the big levels. Those are the big levels that we're watching here moving forward on the Apple chart. Okay, so guys, I don't know what we're doing. In the chat today. It looks like we have a lot of bots hanging out in the chat. Let's move on, guys. We're here. We're talking about levels. We don't want to hear about drama. Let's just focus on levels, right? There's no reason for this. Let's just focus on what matters, right? None of this matters. Let's move on. So, and I don't want to hear people talking about anything bad about anybody either. Nobody should be doing that, right? At all. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is. We shouldn't be talking about anybody. Seriously. Okay? There's no money in that, right? We're not going to make money from this. We're not going to make money from any of this. PLTR. On the PLTR chart. 139. 139 is a level, right? Yesterday, that was the level we spoke about. Today's session is still applicable, right? 139 is support. If you're holding support, that's a big level, okay? 139 is the big technical level of support. If we can pull back long 139 today, that's your main level of demand to look forward to go long today's session. Okay, 139. Where is this going to though, right? If you zoom out for a second, you're going to realize something very quickly. We are simply just at a new all-time high, right? So at this moment, you look at these charts and you can get lost in the sauce here, right? Because if you just focus on all these micro time frames, you get lost in the sauce. You have to understand something for a second, right? There's going to be a moment that PLTR eventually does pull back to this level here, right? I do think it's going to happen. I think it's going to pull back to this 126 to 130 area and it will catch you off guard. But this is going to be your ideal pullback long spot, right? Today's session, watch out for this today, okay? 130 to 126, big technical demand. If we can pull back long there, that's where I'm looking for longs in PLTR, right? Now, look, I'm not a PLTR bear. PLTR is obviously very bullish, but I am saying that this is the big level of demand. I think we will pull back there at some point, right? That's the level to watch out for moving forward, okay? HIMS, H-I-M-S. On the HIMS chart, you have a level here at 60, right? 60, big technical level of resistance here in HIMS. If HIMS can break 60, upside back into 67, right? That's your little bull flag trade here. We talked a little bit about this last time. HIMS has not done anything recently, honestly, right? We spoke about this bull flag. I think we spoke about it on like Thursday of last week, right? And so far, it's done absolutely nothing. Meta. 694 on Meta, absolutely insane, right? This was the trade yesterday. Remember live in the pre-market Zoom, we spoke about this, right? Big up. We were sitting here like this. We were all like, smiling and all. Oh yeah, look at the bear chart here in Meta, guys. Wow, look at the Meta bear chart. Then all of a sudden, bam, where is it? Bam, right? big smack, oh shit, flip back bullish, right? And as soon as it did this was the moment we flipped and said, you know what? No longer a bear chart, right? This is obviously a complete bull chart. And what is your level to watch out for? The level to watch out for is 694. Okay, 694 was the level. That's where the pullback long came in. It was a previous high of day. It will also, I bet you this too. I bet you it was also the fib level. If it's not, I'll look very stupid. It is. It was a fib level as well, and that was the best long spot yesterday, right? If you long 694 yesterday in Meta, right? I don't care if you're in honey drip, it doesn't matter. I don't care. But if you were saying, if you long this in honey drip or outside honey drip, you did this, you are an absolute killer, right? This was the level. This was to go where you should have gone long yesterday. And if you did, you had a great Monday morning. That was like the absolute idea yesterday, was longing 694. And you saw yesterday, what did it do? It pulled back to 694. And this is what, look at what it did. Look at what it did. I mean, just what is it going to do? It's going to give you a little bit of an FU. Oh shit, maybe it's bearish, right? Oh shit, maybe it's bearish. Oh, nope, back bullish, right? Big upside came in, and that's where the long entry came in, and obviously went right to 705. Today's session here on Meta's chart, what must we watch for on Meta? What must we watch for on Meta? On the Meta chart, 705, 694. Those are the big levels to watch out for, okay? 705 and 694. If we can break 705, we have upside back into 710. If you break below 694, that's where things become dangerous, and this is no longer bullish. Right now, though, this is still obviously bullish. What are we looking for on this chart moving forward? Is this, right? We're looking for simply this. Breakout, pullback long retest here at 694. At this point, I think the best thing we should do is look for it to hold above 705. If it does, upside here, back into 710, and potentially beyond. That's what I'd watch out for. This is the only scenario I would really be interested in. Why is this the only scenario? Because yesterday, we already bounced off demand, right? If you tap demand again, I don't like it anymore. Because the more times you knock on that level, right, you may see this happen. And I don't want that to happen while I'm long options, right? So I think the best thing you can do is look for it to clear above highs here. If it does, that's your long entry. We can move, look for longs back into 710 plus, okay? So moving on now. Let's talk about the one that everyone is going to get mad at me about. We are forgetting, yes, see, I already see it. It's already in the chat. We were talking about it. Tesla. A little bit of Tesla. So Tesla has been in a little bit of a choppy fest recently, right? And it makes sense, right? It does make sense. The reason why is because it has big resistance here at 332. And I think one of the main things we should be watching for, should be 332 breakout, right? 332 breakout, upside back in 336. If 336 breakout, then that happens, then we have upside back in 350. So again, what I should be looking for here on this chart here on Tesla is the break and hold above 336. If that happens, upside back in the highs. Now I am omitting something, right? I just said 332 breaks, look for upside, and now I'm saying 336. Is it because I am having a mental breakdown, or is it because I am telling you guys the level? The level to watch out for is if you trade 332, you only have upside back in 336. And if you want to do that, and you want to have a little bit of a mental breakdown, if it does this, big upside, bam, bam, that you could do it, right? But you may see that happen. And that may make you a little bit upset, right? So if you want to trade this smart, look for upside above 336. You could do the 332 breakout, right? But you may only have upside back in 336. Very important understanding here. If 332 breaks, upside potential only as far as 336. This is still going to be big resistance. You're going to go long there. You're going to smack the head of the textbook at 336. Big smackdown could happen. Again, why? Because this is big resistance here at supply. Big resistance to watch out for this session, okay? If you really want free-flowing upside where there's no mental breakdowns, where there's no getting smacked in the face with the textbook, wait for this to happen. That would be the big free-flowing upside move back in the highs, and that would be a nice trade. Again, 336 breakout or higher risk 332 breakout, kind of similar to NVIDIA, right? Remember NVIDIA, we said 143.5? Very similar to that same idea here. 332 being a little bit of an early breakout level, okay? Next chart, Amazon. Amazon, Scamazon. Amazon, Scamazon. What is Amazon doing? So Amazon 214, big level, right? 214 is your big level. Today's session, to be honest with you, this chart looks a bit choppy, right? You saw some upside above 214 yesterday. We spoke about that 214 breakout. It was actually quite nice yesterday, to be honest, right? If you did trade the breakout above 214, breakout, pullback long, retest, 214, Monday session, upside trade. Today's session, I don't really have any comments here, right? I just don't really have anything to say. 214 is your demand. That's the level to watch out for. I will tell you guys when I see something. I will tell you guys when I don't see something, because it's important for me to do that, right? Here in Amazon's chart this morning, I don't really have an idea here. I just don't really have an idea. Yesterday we spoke at 214. Today's session, it's back at 214. Is it a long here? I would argue this is probably still a long as we're above 214. And that would be the understanding I have here, right? For above 214, upside. But I think we should stay away from this chart. This is not a good looking chart in my opinion, okay? Let's move on. Let's talk about Hood. Last chart of the day. A little bit of Robinhood action to finish off our Tuesday morning pre-market session. So here on Robinhood, you can see it is just consolidating above the big level, right? You have a big level here at 67. That's your big technical level. 67 is your 67, 68 is your major level. Really 67, right? You can see here big level of support. We are consolidating above it. We are at 76 right now. Very similar to the idea on PLTR. This chart at some point will pull back here, right? This chart is going to do this at some point, right? Pull back long, 67, upside trade. It will happen at some point. Watch that to happen. If that happens, that is where I'm focusing on my long entry, right? And I've been long Hood since $18 a share, right? And I'm saying this not because I'm bearish on Hood, because that's where the next logical long entry is, okay? Guys, thank you all for joining in. Happy and safe trading. Let's kill it this Tuesday, and I'll see you guys all for live trading if you trade with us. Bye, guys.